Tonight, Broken Hill residents shocked to their core with another kangaroo the subject of a cruel attack. And a blaze tears through a farm shed in Port Lincoln, prompting warnings from authorities.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening. Broken Hill Police are investigating what appears to be a disturbing act of animal cruelty. In the past 7 days, 3 kangaroos have been spotted across the city, believed to be shot with arrows and left to suffer. A warning: this story contains graphic images.
This is the picture leaving the Broken Hill community in shock. While kangaroos are a common sight in the city suburbs, these images paint a gruesome and sad picture of how some are being treated.
We just couldn't understand it. This is an absolute first for us. We've been in Rana 2 years. We've seen a lot of stuff, but this is absolutely new to us.
3 kangaroos have been injured by arrows, such as this one in Broken Hill in the past 7 days, the most recent Friday night. It's unknown just what happened, but it is known that the innocent animal was shot and left to suffer. This roo was found by members of the city's local Rana branch with an arrow lodged in its back, while its joey sits in the pouch.
They're harmless. They do absolutely nothing but sit there and chew grass. From the pattern we were seeing, they were focusing on shooting females with joeys, which was even more disturbing.
While attempts to help the other 2 animals were unsuccessful, Rana managed to remove the arrow from this one. It's now in the hands of local police with a criminal investigation underway.
There may be more, but shooting the animals with arrows in the way that they have been shot, it is an act of aggravated cruelty and it's very disappointing to see. I can't imagine why anyone would be wanting to do that.
Police are forensically testing the arrow for DNA to find its owner.
It's an unusually shaped arrowhead, not one I've come across before. It's not a standard target arrowhead, nor is it a hunting arrowhead. We're making inquiries to try and identify that too.
Anyone with information should contact Broken Hill's local station or Crime Stoppers. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A mammoth clean-up effort is underway in Port Lincoln after a shed was destroyed during a fierce blaze which ripped through the property yesterday afternoon. The incident has prompted a dire warning from authorities to never leave electrical devices unattended.
Fire crews scale the roof trying to douse the flames erupting from a shed, a scary scene in Port Lincoln yesterday afternoon.
Very thick. I've never seen smoke thick as even the bushfire. We've been burnt through here a few times, but this was more, really black smoke.
The alarm was raised just after 2:30. Neighbours were quick to call for help, but it wasn't long until the shed was fully engulfed. The owner unaware of what was happening until a friend rushed to warn him.
Someone knocked on the door, said there's smoke pouring out of your shed.
3 MFS crews backed up by CFS rushed to the scene. 2 bulk water carriers called in, the narrow and muddy driveway making it difficult to gain access.
We couldn't get anywhere near it, even then. And it was only just hadn't been going very long. I got there with a hose, but I had to get away because it's too hot.
Fire crews say an immersion rod used to boil a jug of water that was left unattended had boiled dry, setting a wooden bench on fire.
It works pretty quick as a rule, too quick, because I went inside for a little while and in that time it boom.
The incident has prompted a dire warning from authorities.
Remind householders not to leave electrical devices unattended.
The owner, who was the only person at home, watched on in disbelief and called his wife with the bad news.
She's been wanting me to clean that shed out for a long while. Well, it's a bulldozer job now.
The damage bill is estimated at $50,000. Thankfully, the owners are insured. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A Port Lincoln man has lost his licence on the spot after being caught drink driving, allegedly almost 4 times the legal limit. Police were called to Liverpool Street in the early hours of Saturday morning after concerns were raised around the driver of a Holden Commodore. Patrols located the vehicle and its 33-year-old driver in a car park and breath tested him. He's accused of having a blood alcohol reading of 0.198. He's expected to face the Port Lincoln Magistrates Court at a later date. 24 students from across the Spencer Gulf have been awarded a government-funded scholarship where they'll receive up to $18,000 for schooling costs. It's part of the federal government's $58.1 million Rural and Regional Scholarships program, aiming to improve access and quality learning to regional students.
24 students to be supported under the fourth round of the government's Rural and Regional Enterprise Scholarship program.
They spread right across the electorate of Grey. We've got them on Lower Eyre Peninsula, Eastern Eyre Peninsula, back through the mid-north, into the upper mid-north.
Additional consideration given to those affected by bushfire and drought, aiming to help ease financial burdens during what's for many been a very difficult time.
They assist students in attending tertiary education in the city, away from home, up to around about $18,000 for the period of their course.
The scholarship will also include $500 for students to undertake an internship to ensure they're job ready.
And it's not just for university students, it's for Cert 4 and up.
The government also providing an additional $400 million to support students studying at regional university hubs in Port Pirie, Port Augusta and also Kadina next year.
One of the things we do know is if we want educated individuals to be back in our regional communities and unlocking the wealth that sits within those communities, we're going to have well-educated ones.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, a golf competition well attended in Port Augusta and children in Whyalla get creative. Hello again. The Port Augusta Golf Club held its annual men's 27-hole Open over the weekend for the first large competition back post-pandemic. The event saw players from around the state compete for the top place in their divisions.
Back to competitions on the green.
There's quite a few Opens that haven't been on this year in the north because of the restrictions, but we're still having ours.
The golf club's first big hit off the fairway since the pandemic began.
Very good and successful event. We had 89 hit off from 15 other clubs represented. That was magnificent and a great effort by those people that travelled.
Mark Brushnahan was number 1 in the C grade, Darren Strawbridge was the front runner in the B grade, and Port Augusta local Michael Warren took out the A grade championship title for 2020. His name's soon to be up in the clubhouse. And there was also a broken record on the green.
We actually had a course record for the day, a 64 off the stick, which is 6 under par, and that was shot by Shannon Matthews, who's from Kimber.
The club captain thrilled at the turnout and is gearing up for the club's golf week that tees off in just 3 weeks' time, saying it's not just the club the event will benefit.
So it'll be great for Port Augusta, great for the community with all of the heads on pillows and in the pubs and the restaurants and for the golf club. And it's just a great thing for the town and we're looking forward to it.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Whyalla City Council has opened a pop-up museum in the Westlands Shopping Centre today, celebrating 50 years of service to the city. A range of old photos, trinkets and memorabilia is set up on display, giving locals and visitors a chance to reminisce over Whyalla's history across the past 5 decades.
All of these objects have interesting stories about the history, and that's what we're really about. It's about people bringing in their objects and sharing their stories about Whyalla.
Council is encouraging locals to add their own personal items and photos which have been taken around Whyalla to the display. The temporary museum will be open for this week only. And Whyalla children are keeping busy these school holidays with a huge range of Cuddlefest activities on offer around the city. The lantern making workshop has been very popular, with plenty of colour designs ready to be displayed for this year's ISO Light Festival.
Prepping the decoration table for the Cuttlefish Lanterns workshop, Whyalla locals putting on their creative caps, adding a splash of colour to the city.
Here at the Old Civic Library, I am doing an open studio artist residency and we are building large lanterns.
These colourful designs ready to hang along the shop windows of Whyalla's Main Street as part of this year's ISO Light Festival.
It's really great to fill up the space with people and have everyone contribute a little bit to the project.
KANGAROO, a multi-art form organisation, providing funding for the project as part of a COVID-19 quick response round for regional artists.
They were looking for projects that engage the community while still being safe and socially distanced.
Whyalla City Council matching the grant.
We have launched it as part of the Cuddlefest celebrations, which has become an annual festival.
The ISO Light Festival will give locals the chance to spot the different ocean-themed lanterns in the shop windows while staying in the comfort of their own car. This wintertime event starts this Friday and will run for 2 weeks.
And they're all made out of recycled materials. So we have a large jellyfish, which is made out of old plastic bags, and marking tape from the mines.
The workshops are open to the public and will run from 11 to 6 over the next few days.
Come and participate in making a lantern this week. I believe Michael's going to be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Pat will take a look at what's happening with football in Broken Hill, and the Lions Club gears up for a walk to support those dealing with diabetes. Hello again. An adult sperm whale has washed up at Coffin Bays National Park, with rangers asking visitors to steer clear of the large animal. The 16-metre long male was first spotted on a sandbar last month, with high tides and wind now pushing the dead whale onto the beach. Officers say the large size of the animal has made it too complicated to move. Instead, it will be left on the beach to break down naturally. The Port Augusta Lions Club is hosting its second Strides Diabetes Awareness Walk on July 26th. The 2.5 or 5 kilometre walk will take participants along the east side foreshore. Organisers hope the event will raise some awareness about the disease.
Just finding out, knowledge is really important in this area, and you may not have diabetes, but if you do the right thing, you may not ever get it. So that's the prevention's where we're really pushing for now.
Those interested can register on the day with a gold coin donation. The 2020 football season is well underway across the region, with Port Lincoln's Wayback starting strong with a win over Boston's. It was a close start to the game, but the team quickly snowboarded to a comfortable victory. Nathan Regter has our football wrap-up.
It's been one of the most anticipated starts to football in Port Lincoln's history, with teams ready and rearing to go after a 3-month hiatus due to coronavirus. The season no doubt looking a little bit different, with Mallee Park out of the picture and some young guns coming up through the junior ranks. Waybacks and Bostons were going head-to-head on Saturday. The first quarter saw Waybacks lead by the skin of their teeth, a point difference separating the two teams. It was the second quarter that let Bostons down, Waybacks kicking 8 goals. For the following 2 quarters, the game followed a similar pattern. By half-time, Waybacks were up by a comfortable 46 points. In the second half, Bostons had some fire in their belly, kicking 3 goals in the third quarter. But it was too late, with Waybacks maintaining some social distance, leading by an unreachable 40 points, looking like a comfortable win in the final change. An extra 9 goals in the fourth quarter by Waybacks sealed their victory with 91 points. In the other match, Tasman claimed victory over Souths with a 9-point win. Around the region now and up in Whyalla, Rupina defeated Waroona Bay, West were too good for Souths, and Centrals edged out North. The SGL saw West Augusta defeat Souths 52-28, while in the second game, Props Risdon and Centrals had their work cut out for each other. By half-time, there was only a goal difference between the teams. An extra 4 goals secured in the third quarter saw Props Risdon cruise to a win. In the northern areas, it was a tight game between BMW and Crystalbrook. BMW led in the kick-off, but Crystalbrook weren't going down without a fight, securing 2 goals in the fourth quarter. But it wasn't enough, as BMW claimed a slim 2-point victory. The second game saw Orroroo snag the win over Broughton. That's it for football across the region. I'll be back tomorrow night with the rest of sport.
And while a number of South Australian football leagues are now starting shortened seasons, for Broken Hill the game is on hold. Local league officials are hoping a September round-robin competition can still go ahead.
Across the border, SA's local footy is back kicking goals. In Broken Hill, though, the ovals remain motionless. 4 weeks ago, a decision was made to not go ahead with a shortened AFL Broken Hill season. The coronavirus restrictions at the time playing a big factor.
Not being able to use change rooms, spectator facilities, limited crowd numbers, recording all the names and details of everybody that came through the gate. So the general feeling of 3 of the 4 clubs was not to proceed.
Now in mid-July, there have been no changes to COVID precautions and footy in 2020 remains on a knife's edge. AFL Broken Hill floating the idea of a festival of football in September, but a decision needs to be made soon.
We need to make a call on that probably by the end of July. Clubs are training at the moment. I don't think it's full-on serious football training. It's more of a bringing the players together to have a training run.
The competition would be played across the month's 4 weekends and feature 15-minute quarters. The president of North Footy Club says it's a matter of getting more details before committing to anything.
I think the older boys aren't that keen to put the bodies through it with work and everything, but the young guys, I think that's where the interest will be. We haven't really done a full canvass of the club yet.
The city's junior footballers haven't been forgotten, with AFL Broken Hill looking at ways to give the city's younger generation of players a kick this year.
We may get our Auskick program, which is under 7s and 11s, underway in potentially August or September. Again, we will need some of these restrictions to ease.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. A lucky couple in Broken Hill, and we'll have the weather details with Britt. Hello again. A Broken Hill couple say they're planning to hit the road and travel the country after winning today's Lucky Lotteries draw. The couple took out the $100,000 jackpot prize after buying a ticket at Silver City News World. The winners say their hearts have been warmed on a very cold day. They're already planning a trip to far north Queensland. Now let's take a look at what's happening in your weather this week. Here's Britt.
Thanks, Louise, and good evening. Morning fog cleared to a mostly sunny day today, with Coffin Bay recording the region's high of 16. Port Augusta, Port Lincoln, Broken Hill, Woodner, Kadina and Cleve all reached 15 today. Port Pirie 14, Whyalla, Clare and the capital all 13. Taking a look at today's satellite images, and we can see cloud over southern SA with a clearing trough bringing showers to our west. To our north, clear skies with a building high and dry air mass leading to a cold morning inland tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, we'll start with the Gulf waters. Variable winds below 10 knots with seas under half a metre, swells south to southwesterly around 1 metre in the south. But what's it going to look like near you? Let's see. A mostly sunny day on the way for Port Lincoln with an expected top of 15 degrees. Cleve mostly sunny with a top of 17. A cold morning for Woodner with an overnight low of 0 degrees. A frosty start tomorrow, but warming up to a high of 18 and sunny. Morning fog and frost at Whyalla tomorrow ahead of a sunny day, looking at a top of 16 there. Port Augusta with early fog and frost also, an overnight low of 1 degree. Sunny tomorrow afternoon with a high of 18 degrees. Kadina, morning frost and fog, but sunny later on, a top of 15 there. A cold morning ahead for Port Pirie, fog and frost ahead of a sunny 17 degrees. 0 overnight at Clare, but warming up to 15. Fog and frost in the morning, but looking sunny in the afternoon. And finally, Broken Hill becoming sunny with a high of 15 tomorrow. Now let's take a quick look further through the week. Bright and sunny about the Eastern Eyre Peninsula, Flinders, Broken Hill and Mid-North forecast districts on Wednesday. Fine and partly cloudy elsewhere. 20 the high for Port Augusta. Woodner and Whyalla both 19, Port Lincoln and Port Pirie both with tops of 17 degrees, Broken Hill and Kadina 16. Thursday looking sunny about the west coast, Flinders and Broken Hill areas, but partly cloudy throughout the remainder of the region. Maximum temperatures sitting between 16 and 20 degrees. And finally to Friday, looking bright and sunny across the board, a little warmer too, with maximums mostly in the late teens and early 20s. And Louise, that is the forecast. And with that, it's back to you.
Thank you for that, Britt. And that wraps up your local news for this Monday evening. Thank you for joining us. We'll have updates later. Until then, have a lovely and safe evening. Good night.